All right, welcome to the Rideshare Chaos podcast. We are going to continue to pick apart the last 2 weeks of our rideshare Uber Lyft adventures. I know, so we have another guy on the panel making his debut, and it's Steven, not Stefan. So don't tell me his name wrong if you see him in a ride. Exactly, exactly. I always have Pierre for my sound effects. He's the man with the clips. But
Nice.
so I know we were on when we recorded last week, we were basically leading up to St. Patty's Day weekend, which was filled with a over powerful green in the city, but green in my pocket as well. Um So how did your guys' St. Patty's Day week go? Like anything memorable other than the green in your pocket, or um, any good stories or outlandish outfits as most of these people wear? Everything from green stockings to fishnets to fluffy anything that's green. So yeah, so like how'd your guys' St. Patty's Day weekend go?
Well, Steve, why did you go first, man?
Oh
You
man,
got,
put me right on
you
the
got
spot.
trial by fire. You got trial by fire.
Well, oh man, thankfully, honestly, nothing too crazy eventful. Like it was just an overall decent weekend. Like no one crazy, no throw ups. Thankfully, because that's a huge risk
It's
on
always
St.
a
Patty's.
positive. It's always a
Yeah,
positive.
yeah. But I know I had kind of a lazy week. My best amount I made on Saturday night, and I made like 431 that night. But I mean, it all varies because that's online hours, and that's 8 hours and 40 minutes online. I probably spend a good third of my time offline, getting to a
So,
church or charging.
so Pierre, just to drop this, you guys both drive Teslas, okay? So you
Yeah,
have a
there you
fellow
go.
Tesla in the
Yes,
building, and then there's just me, the combustion engine driver.
the ice driver.
I I am
The
I am
Nice,
in,
yeah.
and I'm stuck in the
ice.
middle. I'm like a Tesla sandwich right now on the screen. So
Oh,
Nice.
sounds exciting.
combustion in the middle.
Sounds exciting stuff.
I know. See now, see I'm outnumbered for once. It's a rarity.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Hey, at
Yeah,
least you're
Yeah.
not at too high of a risk of your car being vandalized right now. So
yeah, exactly. That's
I mean,
true.
I
That's
did. I
true.
mean, I did have a Kia before this, but I did not. But I did not feel the wrath of the Kia boys.
Yeah, the
A
Kia
bunch of
boy.
a bunch of irresponsible children. Me wondering where are the parents in this scenario? Like,
Where
man.
yes,
I digress.
there's an apartment building, and I don't remember where. Well, I know where it's at. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like on Leonard and the freeway. It's over on the northwest side or the northeast side of town, and you drop people off there every once in a while because it's kind of a dead end too. It's like the first exit right off or the first road just north of on Leonard, north of town.
Turner.
Anyways, yeah,
Okay.
it's like up in there, up in that area, and
It's off Broadway, I believe.
I was thinking that
they
off Broadway
they
part.
have they used to have security at that because it's not a fancy apartment, it's just kind of average apartment building, but
Right.
apparently during the summer of Kia they had 7 Kias stolen from that apartment
See,
complex,
see, and
and they
this
had
was
to get
well,
security out there, so every time you drove in there was a security guy.
well. Oh, actually, no. I know what one you're talking about. It's off of Leonard and the highway, but it's like down. I was thinking Bridge Street, but I know what you're talking about because yeah, they had security back there. It was on something with a B, but Berwick or something like that, or
Yeah.
Beckwith.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah, because they had a security out there. And see, like the benefit for me was I didn't live downtown, so I was fine. And I feel like it's just a bunch of Grand Rapids locals with nothing better to do with their life than And you know what's so stupid is that like there's so many YouTube videos for doing dumb things that like it's like a legal way to post a manual how to do something
Sure.
stupid with a car. Hey, thanks YouTube. I mean, yes, you're gonna
Yeah.
post this video, but at least this video is fun and jolly versus an instruction manual how to do debauchery. But
Yes, exactly. Oh, back with.
back
So
with
I don't know.
you,
Back with
yeah,
place, I think maybe, or something like that.
yeah.
Is
It's
what
like
it was called.
it's like the first right when you go in on that street.
Yeah, right off Leonard when you get off the
Yeah,
freeway there.
yeah. They would have to like wave. They're like, "Yes, I live here."
Yes,
And
I
I'm
live
like,
here.
I'm
Right.
an Uber driver, dude. What do you want me to do? Like, I'm just rolling. Like, I'm not.
It says
my-
Uber right on the
my-
front of the
It says
car.
Uber Seth on it. I'm the only Uber Seth in the whole freaking state, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, who's this suspicious guy
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Suspicious character.
who also
You're
drove
a
a
group.
Kia at the time?" So
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow.
We found our man. We found our man.
you found
Oh
her.
my gosh.
I'm the one
Indeed.
posting the videos. It's all
That's
me.
right. You're the one doing. That was the deal? Like the Kias were easy to break into? Was that the deal with the Kia?
Yeah, and it was the push to start ones that were easier to override than the key ones.
Oh,
Yeah, so
you can
just
kind
be able
of
to get
break
in
the
there and
column.
just break it
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, so
Break the steering
that
column. The lock on the
Yeah.
steering column. Just push the start button.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, my dad was a repo man. My dad, because back in the day, because I'm the old dude, my weekend consisted of a 60th birthday. So I turned 60 this weekend. But
Oh, you're only as old as you feel.
but my story about my dad, when I was a little kid, like a wee lad, like 7, 8 years old, I was totally fascinated by my dad. His side hustle back then was repossessing cars. And so back in the 70s, he repossessed cars. And so back then, it was before you had electronic ignition and all that kind of fancy stuff. You literally just needed a key or hotwire the car, which he was really good at because he was kind of a juvenile delinquent when he was a kid, when he was a teenager.
So then how did you turn out?
Genius. Anyway, so he had in my bedroom was the because I had a place in the basement in the old coal room that's on the old houses had a coal room. This had a coal room in it, and he had his key making gadgets in there, so it was always cool to see because you if you knew the model of the car, you could make a set of keys, and in the VIN number apparently was coded what key it was.
Oh, nice.
And back then, most of the keys sets, you would have a key. He would also have key sets. Impala, 72 Impala would have like 80 different potential keys that it could have. And so he had these rings that would have all 80 keys on it. And it was
Jeez.
one of those. He just knew it was one of those. And he's out there trying to. Now they don't do any of that kind of stuff. But back then it was.
Now it's a lot of it is generic keys, but it's all about the chip.
Even when you repossess a car, you call the police and say, "Hey, we're gonna, go tow this car," or you have a cherry picker that comes in and picks it up, by the wheels, and then just, you just get it out of there real quick.
Yeah.
You just kind of pick it.
They just leave a "We got you" sticker, and
Ta-da, your car is gone. And
now you see me. Now you don't.
Yeah, exactly. That was his side hustle. So, stealing a Kia, that kind of sounds like it goes back to the old days of hot wiring cars. Maybe that's why it was so easy to like. And then there was like criminal gangs that were doing this, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
It was your dad's instructional videos on VHS.
Well, there's a lot of like. There's a lot of like 14-year-olds and stuff doing it too. Like that's a lot of what the Kia boys.
Yeah,
Kia
they were.
boys.
14.
They were young kids.
Nothing
That's
better
hilarious.
to do. Parents don't keep them in at night. It's 2 a.m.
Oh,
Let's
no.
run the streets. Go steal a Kia.
I mean, and like for me, if the street light was on and I wasn't home, I best be dead. Okay, because pre-social media and pre-colored TV for Pierre, like we didn't, we had nothing else to do, right? Like, and so you'd play around on the streets, ride your bikes off sketchy jumps. And now they just sit behind a screen and they have everything in more than we had at the palm of their freaking hand.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how it was.
I'm glad we've kind of moved beyond the Kia boys
Yeah.
now.
that's-
What's as long as there's no Chevy boys or Tesla boys, I think we'll be
Yeah.
fine. But
Yeah,
yeah,
well, now it's just, I don't think we have as much of this in Grand Rapids as maybe some of the other places in town, but I don't feel like I mean, there are protesters every once in a while that I've seen in
Oh,
front of the
God,
Tesla
those-
dealership, but just like for a couple of hours on Tuesdays or something like that, that they're trying to
and
organize. to go out there.
why are they not at work? That's why they can't afford a Tesla, and that's why they're mad about it. Is because they're unemployed, boring people that have no
Oh,
life
man.
on a Tuesday. Now, have you seen the
Uh,
protesters downtown about anything and everything that is the current presidential candidate? Well, not candidate, El Presidente currently.
Well, the only ones I saw recently were the Palestine ones, but
I see those two.
yeah,
I'm
they were
just like,
marching around the
man.
other night.
Yeah, I'm like, I would not want to walk. Can we have like a Palestine bike rally? Like, I'm not gonna walk around all the way downtown.
I'm down with the cause, but I'm lazy.
Exactly,
gosh.
exactly.
Is that what you're
Mhm.
there?
Why
yeah,
can't
that's
you? Why
hilarious.
can't you? You know, it's like I always say, I don't do the Ks, man. I do 0 Ks. I don't feel OKs. I do watch Ks. I will do a cheer on K, but I will never do a 5K. I don't even do a 1K. I won't even do a 0.5K.
Like see me, I find a different way to take enjoyment out of it. I won't do the marching around myself. What I did with the last little march around downtown, I followed them around and got on my megaphone on the Tesla, and every time they were shouting something on their megaphone, I was shouting "Make America Great Again."
That's funny. That's
I'm just a
funny.
troll.
I guess so. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, man, during that
I-
whole thing, I thought it was delightful. I know, because I know me and Pierre talked about this, but like when Camel Toe Harris was here, like I had to go through a whole like check process. I don't know if you were around for that.
Oh, I saw it. No,
But-
I saw it there. I was not taking customers to those hotels.
See, and like I thought I found pure joy out of it because like I have underglow underneath my car, so I have a cable sticking out of my car on my driver's side going underneath my hood. And they asked me the first time, like, "What is this cable for?" I said, "The underglow. Don't you see it?" And so
Remote
I had to turn. Yeah, dude, I would have got arrested.
Oh my
But
gosh.
command
I
execution.
was not going to be a smartass to like 20 men with guns.
You would have
So-
got
Yes,
paid
exactly.
though, man. That's unlawful search and seizure. They had no lawful reason to search your vehicle. That's
But
why I
they-
wasn't going to
well,
go in there.
they went in there and it was just like pop the hood, turn the car off, blah
Yeah.
blah blah. I get it, you know, but like I love how though. So they had that for her. Obviously, she was currently in office, so I get the security for that. Tim
Mhm.
Walz had like every police and state cop along the museum. And then Trump just walked in all willy nilly, like top dog, top G, like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
Like, and so
yeah.
I didn't go to any of those rallies or anything, but
So
know.
in the Amway hotel, I used to work back in the early 2000s. I had an office in the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel in the exhibitors building, and there was a little coffee shop in there. I think it's still there. I'm pretty sure it's still there. It's right, on Pearl Street, right. If you go into the hotel from the valet area where we pick and drop off people and turn left, it's right there. And back then, it's one of the only hotels. I think it's the only hotel that a president can stay in. So presidents would stay at that hotel, and there was several visits by Bush and different people that would come into Grand Rapids, and they would stay in that hotel. And so one day I was in there and in the coffee shop, and the Secret Service guys were going to come in and do, because they have like an office literally there set up, and there's a secure floor and all that kind of business. But the Secret Service guys were in the cafeteria there having cup of coffee and a pie or whatever. And so they had their doors open to the big SUV, one of the big beast SUVs. And one of the guys gets out of that car and you could just see all the guns and shields and everything in there. I mean, it looked like a normal like SUV, but that thing was like an armored personnel carrier with
if you want to talk about weapons.
So look,
I had a time before the old Marine Armory right there on Monroe looks like a huge like I forget what you call them, but basically a huge big building thing. And I delivered pizza there one time, and they have 3 buses with guys sitting at the door with semi-autos. I'm like, this is the safest pizza delivery I will ever have, ever
have. Yes, exactly.
Like,
exactly.
So
That's funny.
Oh man.
Yeah, and so I'm like, that's the safest possible place I could be right now. Like surrounded by like 500 different people with semi-autos. No one's going to rob me unless they want to die.
So have you ever felt in your Uber like you're going to get robbed? Have you ever felt that?
I have had, okay.
I got some stories.
So, okay, well, Steven, I'll let you go first because I have a handful, but like.
Okay. All right. So, well, I got my main one in particular. So, well, as me and Seth discussed before you got here, I've only lived in Grand Rapids for 3 years. And I've done Uber in Bozeman, Montana, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and Reno, Nevada. And within my first month of doing Uber here, I picked someone up. I picked someone up. I forget what street it was off, but sort of by those apartments you were talking about, off of Leonard, down Leonard a little bit. And the name was Michelle. No, it was Melissa. And it was right before 2 a.m. And it was a darker gentleman with a hoodie. So that's Melissa. And so he gets in and he's mumbling. So he's messing his face, his voice, and all that. And at the time, I didn't know much better. I didn't know the bad areas here and all that. And he asked for an unscheduled stop and, not scheduled on the app at that liquor store, the party store right before 131. And
there's that Tropic one, or there's
it's like a B&B party store, I think.
Yeah, that's on Leonard. That's on Plainfield, but yeah.
Champion.
No, there's one like
B&B's by it's by Graydon's Crossing. It's by Graydon's Crossing. Yeah, okay. I don't know, but go on.
Well, yeah, but anyways, whereas doesn't matter. He asked me to stop there, so I did, and he got out and he accidentally left a knife on the seat. So I grabbed the knife and took off and left him there. And I found
Michelle there.
Yeah, I left. Right? I called cops at that point. But...
Shout out to Michelle. You need to stop having sketchy ass people on your account get into our vehicles, especially with a knife. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't get paid enough.
Yeah.
Now I have a knife, but that is to protect my ass from people other people that have things. But I really honestly I really haven't had any too sketchy of situations. Now
that wasn't done though. That wasn't done though. He ended up doing a robbery there. I was supposed to be the getaway car. A half hour later, there was a cop in the parking lot with their lights on. I kept checking online, found an armed robbery right then and there. So he booked it, and I was supposed to take him there, him do an armed robbery, and me be his getaway car.
Nice.
At least it was a nice getaway car. It wasn't like a 80. It wasn't like a 98 Impala.
That was too bad. That was before the Tesla. It was a Chevy Sonic hatchback, but before.
There is a video on YouTube of a Uber driver in England, in London, and that exact thing happened. There's like 3 guys, and he's got his camera on. They're like, they have 2 stops. The first stop is. They go to the stop, and these guys, just as they get out of the car, that the masks all go on.
Oh my God.
And then within 20 seconds, they're like, "We'll be right back."
Oh my
Within
god.
20 seconds, these guys are running, hurry, go, 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 And he's like, what? What's happening? What is
Oh
happening?
my
Only
God.
one of them got in the car. The other two, who knows where they went. And
wow.
then he's like, I'll take, and they're like, my door, because I think they broke the window. Like whoever was chasing it, he's like, my window. He's like, I don't care. Here's somebody. Get me out of here.
Oh my god.
Throwing a bunch of hundreds at him.
Hell.
This will
Literally.
This will cover it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is
Oh.
just freaking out. This guy is
Like-
Oh, it would be.
I haven't been
So,
fortunate enough to be
no, I've never had
the
anything
getaway
like that.
car yet. It's on my bucket list, but
I'm just glad I got out of there before I was
Yeah.
the getaway car.
Yes.
wow.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I've never had. I've been in a sketchy spot where it's like, all right, but it's not downtown. It was a place I didn't expect was going to be sketchy. But about 3 a.m, I got called out to past the zoo. If you go past the zoo over by
Mhm.
Butterworth, over in that area, there's a
Oh,
park
sketchy.
that goes along the
John
river there.
John Ball Zoo Park
Yeah.
right there.
Well, it's like the Riverside Park. It's kind of like that trail that goes out to
Okay.
Millennial Park.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the head for that trail is right next to the zoo. And so it's like 3 a.m, and it's like I get a call to go to that spot, and it's like, what? Who is out here? Nobody is out here. And then I had a long detour because the spot was closed, and I'm like, this is a setup, because the way to get out here, you're very isolated. There is no other cars there. Nobody's going to be there. So there's no houses or anything or businesses over there. It's like, what are people doing over here at 3 a.m? Like, this is some sketchy stuff already. So I pulled in very like, where are the people? And there was a car there, so I'm like, oh no. And so I was a little intrepid, and I pulled my windows. I'm here for you guys, Uber driver. I'm Pierre, and I'm here for John or whoever it was. And there was two dudes, but their car broke down. And that's what that was their story. Like, we left our car here and the car broke down. We can't get it started, blah, blah, blah. So I let him in. So, but
I let him in.
So I let him in.
Man.
Yeah.
they seem safe.
I don't even have any fun stories like that, other than and I've done over 26,000 rides, and so I feel like my life should be more exciting, but I just get the average drunk college kids or the overserved 50-year-olds or something.
Yeah, that's true. Those
you were out at midnight, bro. You need to be home and in bed. You got to have breakfast at 5:30 in the morning, and
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm a late. I drive late typically, so I'm that guy that drives late all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had a lot of the speaking, because that's when the cool stuff happens, is at night, and you get all these folks. Like, I was in Marne a couple weeks ago at like 2 a.m, and I picked up this gal, and she looked like she was a runway model. Like, this is weird. Like, just out of some random house out in Marne area, here's a fashion model, and she's like dressed in haute couture, like beautiful outfit, very professional. She had this really big bag with her, and
what was the story?
Yes, exactly. So this is why I stopped. I think I told you this is why I stopped doing deliveries, because I have too much of an imagination, and you have to fill in the story. Like, why is this person ordering this at 2 a.m? And this was one of those kind of like mysteries. Like, what is this woman doing out here out in the country, dressed like a supermodel? Like, this doesn't quite add up. And then she's got her bag with her. Like I said, it was like a Coach bag. So it was, I'm married. I'm into bags. I know about bags. This is like a $500 bag.
No shame.
This is not a cheapie. This is not something you're finding at Target. This is a $500 Coach bag. Anyways, so she gets in the car, and you can hear her. Oh, I made the drop off. Okay, I'll meet you at the hotel, and I'm driving her to like literally Motel 6, not Motel 6, the Super 8 on 44th.
She was a hooker. She was a hooker. She was a hooker.
Hey, that could be true. She was either a professional
I
something.
picked up those.
Something professional. But you do definitely get the sense. I get the sense that there's a lot of people that have certain criminal enterprises that leverage Uber because they can just basically call somebody. They don't need to,
Mhm.
no one's following them. They don't have any of those kind of, they're like that. This is pretty smart. If I'm,
Yeah.
like delivering, let's say controlled
the-
substances.
Yeah.
You're the
this
you're
might
the
be-
pimp
have a lot of
taxi.
that.
We're
Yeah,
the pimp Uber drivers.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Now, she was older, but I have never had a situation where it was a super young person, because that would I would feel like I would need to report that. Like if something like that was happening, like if
I
there
mean,
was two
I've-
people and
I had
yeah,
one
they
of
were
those in
doing fine.
Reno.
Oh,
When I did
yeah.
it there, I did. I believe I did report her because I would have.
Yeah.
She seems like she was like 15,
mean,
16, was
Yeah.
meeting sugar daddy.
Yeah, so when I first started, so this is it's actually worse than either of your well, at least Pierre's story, but like
Yeah. Mines
so
are fun.
this was in the very beginning. This couldn't have been more than 6 months. I first did Lyft, then I was doing both, and then I dropped off and just did Uber, and I'm back doing Lyft, but we'll get into that later. But like
Mhm.
and so here I am. It's probably 9-10 o'clock at night. It's raining. And I go to this duplex right across from Union High School on Tremont, right? So just instead of going right into Union, you go left into the other one. And all of a sudden these girls come running out and they get into my car. And the first girl has a G-string and a silk see-through nightie, nothing else on, in all of their glory. And the other girl had like red lingerie. And and I've become accustomed to like when depending on what time of night it is,
Sure.
when I get to their destination, I'll make sure they get in their house, just being
Yeah.
courteous, right?
Mhm.
And
We're
they're
both dads.
they are getting into
Dad
the
knows
house, and
kicks
I'm
in,
stopped waiting for them, looking at, make sure they get inside. They
Yeah.
snap and look at me, and I'm like, like,
Yeah.
Goodness.
like,
Get out of here. We're good.
I mean, yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I really have too many uncomfortable stories. It's really weird that like I seem to give off this like bro vibe. I guess I don't know.
Sure.
Like people get in my car and like they're all like, "What's up, dog? What's up, bro?" Like I'm
Yeah.
like, I mean, so I really haven't had any situations where I've really felt uncomfortable. Now
Yeah.
I've kicked out like a handful. I know me and Pierre talked about this, but I'll let Steven in on the whys of this lady. So a couple weeks ago, she gets in my car, was over like East Town. I had to bring her over to I think it was PlayStation. We didn't get there though. But and so it gets in the car, asking all these personal questions, all these about my family and my energy I'm giving off and all this nonsense. And she proceeds to all of a sudden, then it drops to politics. And then she's like, she's all like, about who did I vote for? I said, I don't talk politics. And she's like, oh, you must have voted for Trump. If you're a Trump supporter, you should go hang yourself. And so I hope she's off the platform or just arrested or something. But like, and that wasn't even the worst part about the ride. And all of a sudden we're talking, whatever. And then all of a sudden she goes to the length of that for me to not rape her. And I'm like, and then that was like the second straw. And the third one was like, well, I'm gonna 1-star you. I don't like you. And then I pulled over a half mile from her destination. I said, you can take your 1-star ass and get out of my car. And then in a fit of brilliance, I paced her next to her driving down Leonard and waved at her as she got to her destination. And I reported the hell out of her.
Nice.
So,
yeah.
But like other than that, I mean, I've only probably kicked out, with the exception of puke. I mean, I have like what I define as 5.5 pukes. Because like I've had like 5 serious ones, and I've had a couple like little splashes here and there. But I feel like if you don't drive like an idiot, and you're not like taking turns at 30 like NASCAR, I think usually people are fine. But I do have blue bags. I do recommend those. Go on Amazon and get some puke bags. I have I have them in my doors in the back because believe me, they have used them. They have used them.
Oh yeah.
I just had to go buy more. So
the only thing that has ever prevented me from buying them is $150. the cleaning fee.
Yeah, but the thing is, but let me get into that. So now Uber's
Oh,
on
now
some
it's hard.
serious
Oh, yeah.
ish. Now they're like, they want you need to start a cleaning company. I'm gonna put your number on there. I've already got a couple
I had thought about
pages
that.
because because I'm to the point where they're like, well, we want to see a receipt, and if you clean it up yourself, you don't get anything. Blah 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 blah. And I'm
Yeah.
like, so you want me to have them puke in my car for 3 days before I go get it cleaned?
Yeah. Or
So
even
they're
just
not.
overnight. I mean, you're driving nights. They want you to wait till something opens in the morning or Monday or what?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's if you can get an appointment. Like, so I think we need to collab and get a cleaning service,
There you go.
a manufactured, just BS freaking cleaning service.
Yeah.
There's a thing that I found. It's called like some kind of invoice maker, and it's just an app, and or in the
You can
professionalism of Pierre, he can draw us up some good documentation, and
you
just
can
Just
do
put-
that type of stuff like on QuickBooks or even on I've used Square point of sale before because when I did this in Bozeman, I had started business there and started my own writer business because I had a LR4 HSE there, so I did luxury rides to Big Sky. But yeah, you can make some invoices fairly easy way and make it look legit, or even get an LLC. It's not even that expensive, and it would be worth it for every driver out there.
Yeah.
But
well, someone
I
needs to
have an
start an LLC for a cleaning company.
There you go. I have an LLC. I have an
Yeah,
LLC. These are the bags
Yeah.
here. If you want to show it, Seth, on the screen, these are the bags we're talking about here.
okay,
They're
You can go on Amazon. They're really cheap. It's
they're
10
inexpensive.
They're inexpensive, and you only need like I usually just keep 4 in and then just stick them in the
Yeah.
door. They're always
Yeah.
just always there.
They're
So,
super
yeah.
simple. So
Really simple.
Yeah,
They're
maybe I'll get
made
some.
like this because I went to a hospital a couple months ago, and then they had like a holder and all of that. So it's like, oh, that's why I'm like, why are these shaped like this? And they nest all together. It's like, oh, that's because.
Oh goodness.
But yeah,
Well,
there you go.
they look like a horse condom, but yeah.
And you can get them in all sorts of colors. Aren't they fancy? They're just fancy. So yeah, this is what happens right here is the child.
Yeah,
Thinking,
that's
oh,
like
road stick, there you go. You just open it up.
So you've
easy to
only
twist
really
and-
had like 5.5. Does that include people utilizing your bags, or is that like ones you've had to clean up?
no. So I've had to clean up, but the only reason why I got the bags now is because the freaking headache of the whole
Cleaning receipt.
and
Yeah.
all that nonsense, and I'm just like, how do you expect me to go spend $150 to get my car cleaned,
Oh,
and then hopefully I get then I hope I get enough refund from you,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
I've-
you know.
I don't
Is
know
that
what
right?
it is that I've said to them, but I've managed to get my $150 cleaning fee at least 4 or 5 times since they started being strict about that. And I don't know if it's just because I maintain Diamond and they treat me extra good or what, because I can call Uber support at any time. That's the main reason I keep Diamond, so I can call them when I have an issue.
I mean, yeah, I call them and I don't have. I mean, I can call them and I don't have the issues. It's just the fact that like when you go through the process of doing it, they just make it to be this whole shebang about doing it, and I'm like, there's puke in my car, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
So it's
I'm-
150 now? Because
It's
I
a
think
hun-
I think I got 200 when I had mine last
Oh,
like
wow.
a year and a half ago.
I've never
Yeah,
gotten
I mean,
to.
it's
I've
not-
only
yeah.
ever gotten 150.
yeah, that's what it's usually been is 150, but yeah,
Nice.
I mean,
Nice.
and the thing is too is like that's why I have the bags now because I'm just over, and the thing is I don't want to end my night like over something. I'd rather just have them just do it and I don't have to worry about it because they've made such a stink about it now.
Yeah.
And it's like, so what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to put a receipt on there when it happens? Like,
Yeah.
well, like
I tell you though,
you think there's just some 24-hour detail stuff for Uber drivers? Maybe someone should start one.
yeah. Or
Like,
at least
Yeah,
a
there you go.
receipt providing a cleaning receipt providing company.
right. I mean, but seriously, I think someone should legitimately just like get us a generic form filled out and we can just write it in and
And there you go.
sign Joseph Robinette Biden to it,
Nice.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, well,
those bags wouldn't have helped you with this one that I had though one time, and that was before I had the leather seats. It was the cloth seats in the Chevy Sonic. It was her birthday, and it was from downtown all the way like way in Caledonia, so it was a half an hour ride. And I tell you, I stopped at least 6 times on the side of the road, but it wasn't enough. She was throwing up all over herself, the seat in front of her, seat she was on the floor. And one of the times that I stopped for her to throw up outside the car, I looked back and I just see piss spraying out her pants, and she soaked my seat with piss.
Cool. See, like, and that's why I purchased a little green machine, and it is a great cleaner.
Oh, nice.
And you can get them at Ollie's for like $50 or $60, and the cleaner's usually cheap on Amazon. But yeah, I've had some real doozies though. But like, I will say that for the record, I think this is the fastest puke in has to be Uber history. I picked these girls up right by Condado, and I turned, puke, get the fuck out, done, like that quick. Like it, and I cleaned it. I literally I pulled over, right, and went offline, and like literally like when I had my Sorrento, I had like Scotch Guard, I had all kinds of stuff in my back of my car. I cleaned it, literally went to one of the self vacuum places, like cleaned it up really quick. And like, I mean, I went and like cleaned it after the fact, but like I was back on the road in like an hour and a half, like, and people none the wiser. But like, yeah, no, I
activity there.
And feel free to hustle college kids though. Those are my favorite. So I had a time, yes. So I give them bestow some wisdom on them. So what I did, I had one situation where. This is when I had my third row. So like I knew second row didn't do it, and it was third row back there, blah blah blah, and it was fucking bad in the back, and it was just fucking chunk salad.
Oh man.
And so and I'm like, so we weren't even to like Wilson yet. And I'm like, I already know someone puked back there. So I said, cough up some money or I'm gonna report it. And measled $100 from them kids and reported it and got my 150. So take that to the bank. And honestly, for how bad it was, dude, like, cause I had to clean that thing myself. So I take that 250 with freaking pride. Okay.
Yeah.
Cause it was bad. It was on the back of the seat. It was like,
oh man.
It was just.
I had one like that with the Land Rover, the LR4 under the second row from the third row. Yeah. Oh, those are bad. That was a good play there, though.
I mean,
that extra 100.
I mean, like, well, and that's the thing is like, I mean, like, and I have had some where like they puked out the window. I had a couple that they puked out the window and got it on my car, but they graciously like, hey, when we get to that destination, like, I'll come out with some water, clean it up for you, and I don't do anything with that. If you're courteous about it, like, I don't have an issue with it. But when you try to hide it, like, no, sweetheart. This Meyer bag from the bar will not contain all your puke.
Correct.
I have blue bags in the door. That was one of my what I would call a quarter puke. And like she's back there dying into a bag. And I'm like, dude, I got blue bags in the door. She's like, no, she's fine. And I'm like, and I literally said, like, get the blue bag.
Oh my God.
And like I was like, get the blue bag. It's not gonna freaking hold it. I know because I've tried it. A plastic Meyer bag does not hold puke. Just to let you all know, okay? It does not contain the strain. Okay, like
hurling.
Yeah, no,
man.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
won't do that. So Kevin, I have a question about, was there a lot of puking that was happening out west?
Yeah, a bit. So when I started, it was the most because that was Bozeman, Montana, and so it's a college town, and these kids are getting overserved constantly. Yeah. Like especially Thursday nights was the night that Bar 9 there would have bucket night, so a bucket of alcohol. An over serving in one drink for like $10. Wow. So yeah, they were hammered all the time, frat parties, all that stuff.
I have a trip. planned to go to Bozeman this next fall.
Oh,
Going to
nice.
Bozeman. My
I'll
mom's from that
actually,
area.
I'll actually probably be there because I'm actually planning on moving back out there. I'm probably actually going to be leaving in the next like month and a half.
Wow. So one of the things I've heard about Uber driving and Lyft driving out west is a place like Bozeman would be a good one. The other one is you talked about Reno,
Yeah.
but the other one I've heard of is Salt Lake City's like that too,
Uh-huh.
where the distance between, like, there's a lot of people that travel into Bozeman Airport going to Big Sky,
Yep.
not realizing that Big Sky is like an hour drive away from the airport. It's not close by.
Yeah.
It's not like you just, and so it's one of those, well, do I rent a car? Well, it's like, no,
Yeah.
you're just going to go up for a week for skiing, and then you're going to be up in the mountains there and in
Mhm.
Big Sky up in that area. So Uber is great. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
That trip is a pretty super common one if you just did airport drives.
Yeah. And
But,
they used to be worth it too, because I was doing that back when rides used to pay better, when they'd pay per mile and minute. So those rides would pay almost $100.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. I've heard the same out west in some of like Denver's like that, where if you do
Yeah.
airport, because the airport is way outside of town.
Yeah.
So anybody going to like Vail or any of the ski resorts, it's a substantial fee. And along Salt Lake City is very similar. Same thing. The
Yeah.
airport's kind of the downtown area, but any close skiing is an hour and a half drive or an hour drive, depending on the weather. So
Yeah.
it's like
The only-
$400 if you have an
the
XL
only-
special.
Oh yeah, I had XL there. That's what was nice about that. The only bad thing about Bozeman was, like I said, it's a college town, so that was most of the business. So it was very seasonal. So summer kind of sucked. People aren't going to Big Sky for skiing. All that. Reno was honestly one of the best until California had their fires the year that I was there, because that killed business. But people would fly into the Reno airport and go to Tahoe, and then you drive around South Lake Tahoe all night. I was doing that during COVID, and it was me and 2 other drivers in South Lake Tahoe every night. So we were just cleaning up, and then I would drive till like 4 a.m, and half the time get a ride back to Reno airport.
Yeah. Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard, I've been in South Reno, because that's the Nevada side of Tahoe rather.
Yeah.
Tahoe, that's the Nevada side, which is where all the rich people live.
Yeah, that's where
all
the casinos are at.
Yeah, that's the biggest misnomer in frickin' Grand Rapids, or just the misconception, is that East Grand Rapids is where the money's at. I'm like, no, that's where people can't afford their rent, their mortgages, because they want their kids to go to a fancy school. If you want the money, you go out to Lowell and Ada. Okay, there's $500,000. Like, the most expensive person I've ever picked up, as far as like the property they were in, it was like a gated community. I'm talking no code thing to put in. Like, no, it was like a key thing, or you had to call someone at the house. And this guy's house was 1.4 mil. And honestly, it didn't even look like it was that much, but I think it was more about the community in which he was in. Because it was probably, it looked like maybe it was like a 3-tier, probably maybe 6 bedrooms or something, probably 3, 4, I don't know. But it just didn't look that schwanky. And I'm like, and he's like, yeah, pretty much everybody in here is at least 750 to $1 million plus. You're like, but like, but that's out in Ada, Lowell, where like there's space to build. And so these people are building these houses that are freaking monstrosity. Like, there's that one cool house in East Grand Rapids, that brick one on the corner. That one, that one's schwanky. Like, I brought a guy there one time, and he was a pianist, and he got a recommendation, and he played played piano for this event there, and made like $1,000 just to play there for a couple hours. And I'm like, see, hard work does pay off. But yeah.
The problem with procrastination, the problem is with procrastination is that it pays off now. That's the problem. if you procrastinate, it pays off. So,
I gotta turn my light on real quick. It's dark in here.
Procrastinators meet tomorrow.
yes.
Oh, that's better.
There you go.
I was wondering. You were kind of like all I seen was like a talking head.
Well, it was light enough when the sun was out, and I had my little ring light on here, and then I saw how dark it got. I hadn't looked at my
I know.
phone in a minute.
I'm like, man, you look like a talking head because your black shirt is blending in with.
Yeah.
One of those it's ambient. Let's do it in black and white next time.
It's
Yeah,
like,
I've never done one of these before, so I didn't think
well,
about that.
do you remember on Anchorman when Brick was talking and he decided to wear green pants that day?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's what it felt
that's
like.
good.
Where are my legs? He falls over.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Oh,
So
Oh,
Where it is. Anyway.
so I like for me it's okay. So when I said I'd get back to the whole Lyft and Uber thing, is that
Yeah,
so
Lyft and Uber.
so I
I've heard that.
switched over to Lyft last week because I'm the one that posted that anonymous thing about the thing where I would say one ride requesting, and then all of a sudden it would say all rides are taken, and it's been doing that like for me way too much, and so I did just fine on Lyft.
okay.
Mhm.
It was a different clientele, but I still made like
Yeah.
like 670, 680 in 3 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so yeah, I switched over. I
have a question. Was that after they started the whole standard and advantage mode thing?
I would say maybe.
Because I did
Um,
notice when they, because I wasn't like in the test period for that. And another driver I know was, but when I got that and they started doing the advantage mode, I was in standard mode, and I would get trip radars like crazy and try and match with them and not get crap. And then now in advantage mode, I match with them a lot more often, or I just get a lot more direct requests to me.
The conundrum is that I don't accept every ride, right?
Yeah.
So my acceptance rate is usually 25 to 30%.
Yeah.
And the problem for me is that like I know Pierre's going for college, so obviously he wants to have that, acceptance rate and everything and get that priority. And for me, like, and I don't. And so like I average between 25 and like 35% acceptance rate. When I did Lyft, I was at like 50%, which honestly was a lot higher than, but like I was also able to do that destination filter. So on Uber, it has a destination filter where it says where you want to go to, and you can put whatever time you want to get to that way or whatever. But with Lyft, they have a radius filter.
Yeah.
And so like I can choose like an 8-mile radius between like Wyoming and like Belmont, and then like Standale to like the Beltline window. And so I'm getting a lot quicker. I mean, I'm getting they're pretty frequent as like the night goes on, but I'm also staying within a good parameter and still making money. And I noticed a big difference, honestly. Like a lot of the rides, like almost all the rides I had. Now, when you see on Uber and you see like, oh, those surges or whatever, you're not always getting that extra $1 or $1.50 or $2 on their surge. But with Lyft, I'm getting every one of them. Whenever it says you're in a certain area, you get that extra $1 or $2 like every time. So like I did 35 rides and made like 270 or something like that. And almost every ride was an extra $1, $2, like, and it was constant. So I mean, maybe that is with the whole priority thing that's why they do that now. So then if you have a higher whatever, then you basically get the pickings, and I think it's a little bit unfair. But,
yeah, I know it definitely is.
Because now I'm sitting there selecting the rides that I'm literally around the block from, and then it would kick me out. So like,
yeah,
and then the rides that they'll send me are like the outlandish reject rides. Like I'm not gonna go all the way to like Kentwood to bring them like a mile. Like, so the rides that are by me, you're basically saying that I don't get to prioritize this ride, even though it's close to me. But then you're giving me all these outlandish rides, and then you wonder why my acceptance rate's low.
Yeah. The one that is a little bit of a mystery to me on Uber is when we have the guys, hey, we're going to do the downtown area or just Grand Rapids. You know, they do that at night, a lot of times in the evenings on Thursdays, Fridays. You know, when it's really busy, they try to keep everybody, you know, downtown nearby. And then if you start, you know, in this little circle area, you get an extra guaranteed $4 or something like that.
For active hour, the boost thing.
Yeah, the boost. That's it. Let's call it the boost. Now, the thing is, once you're in the boost area and you pick a ride and they take you out of the boost area, they don't send you back to the boost area. They keep you,
Yeah,
you know, like
it's
the ride
it's
or
it's
like that.
really annoying when they do
It doesn't
that. Like
quite work like
it's
that. You know, it's
because
like, shoot, I wanted to be in the boost.
you know,
Yeah.
and I don't mind going like a little bit of a distance to get like maybe like 5 or 6 miles to go get someone to
Mhm.
bring him back to a certain area. Because I mean, when I see that notification come up and I see where I'm going to get him and how far it is and how far,
Mhm.
like it takes me like 2 seconds to decide if I want it or not. Like I can look at the streets. I mean,
Yeah.
I've lived here my
Yeah.
whole life. I did 10 plus years of pizza delivery. I've done 3 or 4 years of like parts delivery and stuff like that. So I've pretty much got literally the county on lock as far as like knowing what's where
Mhm.
and what's feasible. Because like sometimes it's a far away ride, but you're picking them up and it's all like highway or something. So like it could
Yeah.
say 6 miles away, but like they're only 7 minutes away.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
then that's when I
Yeah.
can pick and choose that. Because if I know it's going to be highway, I don't mind it. But when it's
Mhm.
like all city driving,
Yeah.
a 7 miles in city driving is like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Especially
And,
like
you know,
East Grand Rapids.
yeah. And so
Yeah,
you're going
that's so true.
25 through East Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to get pulled over by one of the 2 cops. You know,
Yeah.
Hey, I
like,
drive at night.
you know what?
Yeah, no,
If there was a murder
Oh,
in East
yeah.
Grand Rapids, they'd be screwed. Okay, like their police force consists of like 4 guys,
Yeah.
like working 12-hour shifts. Okay, like
Watching for speeders at one intersection.
yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
so
When I
fun.
was a
Fun.
kid, that was Hudsonville. Hudsonville was like that. Hudsonville used to have its own police department. And so if you can imagine, Hudsonville used to be a lot smaller than this. There was no Meijer or anything like that back in
Right.
the 80s. But there was always at least one guy on duty all the time. And so we used to have our church was in Hudsonville. So we'd go out there on Sunday afternoons in the afternoon, like practice or something like that for some program or whatever. And you'd park just in the parking lot. Well, then we had a handicap parking in the parking lot. And I come out, you know, there's nobody in the church except for me. I used to clean the church when I was like a teenager.
Right.
And so I'm parked in the parking in the handicap because it's right by the door backwards so I can haul the trash out and all that stuff. And here's the cop giving me a ticket. They're like, dude,
Oh my
really?
gosh.
I'm getting a
Well,
parking ticket. There's
I
nobody
mean,
in the
yeah.
Oh
I
my
mean, I
Never make-
honestly like. I think okay.
have nothing
This
to
is
do.
this is how I feel about cops. Okay, I feel like the good ones are the ones that show up when crap hits the fan, right?
Yeah.
And the ones that give you nonsense tickets, we're lonely single virgins for like a long time in their life, and now that they've got a little bit of power, they're like power hungry. And
I
after
see.
being bullied in high school, now they have the power, and those are the guys that pull you over for nonsense tickets.
That and female
Yeah.
cops.
I
Yeah.
know I can't show them
I
my
like my
boobies. They
police
don't like that.
officers. I love police officers. I think they're the best people in the world. So
Well, and that's the thing is that like, and the thing is that like social media shows 5% people. Like, let's be real. Like, the social media shows 5% of what they actually deal with. Like, I would not
Yeah.
want to be a cop because we don't see what they actually have to deal with, whether it's domestic disturbances or
Oh.
actually having to have their gun drawn, like
Yeah.
dealing with gang fights,
Terrifying
any of
moments.
that,
Yeah.
any of that nonsense. Like,
Yeah.
I'm thankful. Like, I'll crack a joke, but realistically, I would not want their job, and I respect everyone that puts on
I
a
know.
badge every morning and puts a gun on their hip. That's life or death on their hip. I would not want that responsibility,
Yeah.
and I will back the blue all day, every day.
Even
So-
GRPD, because I know
Even
that they're not,
GRPD.
because I know that they're not pulling me over for doing 45 and a 25 because they have more important shit to deal with.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
I have my
I-
Uber sign. Yes. I've talked to several officers recently. I was out talking to one the other day about, before Uber, he was an older guy, before Uber, how much did you see drunk driving, people drunk driving on the road before and after Uber and Lyft came into Grand Rapids? And, their perspectives were really positive. Like, it's cut it down 20+%. That I think if you're respectful, because I've gotten pulled over, I did get pulled over a couple weeks ago. I am just totally in the zone, and Stephen can attest to this.
I've only
It's
got
not hard to
one
drive
ticket.
a Tesla 70 miles an hour down the East Belt line because it is silent. That car does not make any road noise. And if you
they
are
get there
driving
instantly.
north,
So I can't do it. because my car makes noise.
yeah, that thing doesn't. It is silent at
You know
70.
what?
And so
Oh,
it
so the
doesn't
sheriff's
feel
pulled
like you're
you over
going
then.
70.
Screw you, man.
So I got pulled over at like 2 a.m. He's like, "Did you know you were going 70?" I'm like, "Dude," I am so sorry. I was not paying attention to that. I did not feel like 70.
So
Yeah,
I've gotten 2 tickets, and I've had one that I've actually gotten driving rideshare, and I've got one tossed out. Now, the one I got in the very beginning, this is what pisses me off, is that so this is way back. This isn't like the beginning of it. This is 2019 maybe.
Mhm.
And I was parked literally where that flag truck is, right outside of Tin Can. I was parked out right there, and I had my 4-ways on, and a cop rolls up behind me super quick, writes me literally the fastest ticket ever written in Grand Rapids policing history, and says I'm parked in a turn lane. And that bar, when they seen me get pulled over, that bar erupted.
All the people
That's
came in.
probably why they got the ticket out so fast, because I shit you not, this bar was ready to tip over this cop car. Okay. When I say there was I'm talking 25 people
Oh, sure.
outside yelling profanity at these cops. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
so the
There
one
was a shooting there this summer. Last
Yeah.
summer, I've seen fights in front of that bar. That bar gets a lot of.
no, it's
pretty rowdy folks in there.
it's the hoods. I mean the woods. So do you remember
There was a
Pierre?
shooting at Tin Can though.
There was a shooting at Tin Can. One of the guys, they both shot at each other. Nobody got shot at. Nobody actually got shot, but they were shooting.
See this?
They were
See
so
this
drunk,
hand?
they-
See this hand?
They hit each other.
Look at that. Still as can be. This is my shooting hand.
Yeah, it's like kind of one of those. Yes, exactly. Gene Wilder and
Well, but the one like 2 or 3 years ago when there was an Uber driver involved, that was my dad. He was because my dad drives Uber as well, and he was headed up to pick up a person, and we weren't coming out or whatever, and all of a sudden this fight broke out outside of the woods, literally in front of him, no more than about 20 feet in front of him.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden someone walks up with an automatic and starts popping off rounds. And my dad got 2 bullet holes in his car. And this was in the heat of, certain events that I don't want to get too sensitive about, but my dad should be able to come home safe from driving Uber. Okay. And we should be able to not be bothered as much as sometimes we do get. We're just trying to make a living. These people that rate us on these nonsensical, derogatory remarks on the app and everything. And
You weren't polite.
not polite. And I don't know if I told Pierre the story, but what did I tell you about the 6-foot Indian guy hugging me?
yes.
Okay, so I'll share the shorter version, but so Steven, I picked up this Indian couple, literally first time in America, right? And I was bringing them to the hotel over on 44th Street, right off the highway. I think it's Motel 8 or something like that.
Okay.
And so we pulled up, we parked, and I helped them get all their stuff out of the car. And this Indian guy, full embrace, hugs me, right? Because it's, he just doesn't understand our norms.
Yeah.
But I mean, he went all ball to ball, dick to dick hug, no bro buffer, no nothing.
Oh,
And then in that same night, And then in that same night, I got a not polite remark. And I'm like, hold up. I just got like my whole bubble violated by like a 6-foot Indian guy. And you're going to tell
Oh my
me that
God.
exactly. And
Oh,
so
wow.
like I hate her or like talks too much. Like I can read the room when someone's like, they like they might, if they're not talking, I don't really engage unless they engage me or
Yeah.
something. But I'm like not polite or speeding or
Mhm.
my favorite, distracted by phone.
Oh, wow.
What do you think the
I've gotten
map's
that
on?
once. I've
What do
gotten
you
that
think
once. I mean, my phone's sitting
mean-
up on a mount.
Yeah.
And I know you fancy folk with your Teslas have your little feature where you can just connect to your car and it does all the work for you.
Yes, exactly.
Freaking Pierre and his auto
Uh-huh.
driving all the
We're
time.
almost, yes, exactly.
He's like
Hey,
smoking a
it's not
cigar
gonna
in the
be
back,
too long.
going, "Yeah, we're getting
gonna
there. Should be
we're all
about there."
getting replaced soon, anyways. Come on, it's all kind of robo taxi, and it's
That's why they have the U scans.
Oh, man.
so yeah. You have the yep. Now with Uber, right? With Uber, I don't know if Lyft is, but you connect your app, your phone app to your car, and it'll plunk the directions right over in the.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm one of the not so rich, poorer, stuck in a loop, Hertz rental Tesla drivers. So I don't own my car, so I don't have that feature.
You don't have the
unfortunately.
full capacity
It's
as
all on the app.
Mr. Schwanky Pants over here.
Yeah, I mean, I've got everything on the app, but there's
My star rating is right now 4.99. I have only
Aw.
I have no 0 ratings. I am only too bad.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 1, 3. So
I keep getting down to like 3 bad ratings left, and then someone gives me a crap one.
I'm 4.96. I have
look at that.
3
See, that's
1
as good as you
stars, 1 3-star, and 4 4-stars. And I feel like if I'm at a 4-star, that's basically a 5-star. Like what did I do to not tickle your fancy that you give me 1 less star?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Like
It
what
was
did I
it's
do?
a mediocre ride.
Yeah.
That wasn't that was not my fart, okay?
You
It wasn't
almost
me.
got me there, just not quite.
Yes,
That was not my flatulence, okay? I'm sorry.
should have
I'm
turned
sorry.
my seat heater on, I think.
It's your baby. Your baby pooted.
Oh my God.
Oh man, don't even get me started on people without car seats. I literally have my daughter's old car seat or her like booster seat in my car because if someone gets in and doesn't have it, I'm like, I got one in the back seat. At least have something. That drives me up a freaking wall.
I thought about getting a booster because I just recently started denying people because of it. I was letting them ride before and then decided, no, it's just not worth it for me.
It's a liability.
Yeah. They're being a bad parent anyways.
Do you have a camera in your car?
Inward yeah. I bought an inward-facing camera the day after that guy tried to use me as a getaway car.
Exactly. See, this is how we could. I've seen these videos, and they're all made up. So a bunch of them are made up. So maybe we could do ones with each other, and then show them in grainy black and white, and post them up on the interwebs. And get a lot of money from those. Like
I have an outward. Mine faces outward, not inward, but that's just
I've had them before. I had one, and then the thing broke, and then I just got the cable again back. So I'm back, baby. But yeah, because I've gotten suspended. My account got suspended once last fall for somebody reporting me for like dropping them off in a bad location and having a minor. It's like, no way, Jose. Like, no, none of that is happening, of course. And so yeah, I've gotten the camera that does a little Cobra cam that shoots back inside an infrared, so it's a night cam, and it does outside, but it's locked.
I've got a Cobra one too, but it's just one I had from trucking that it's supposed to be the outward facing one. I just have it turned around since the Tesla already has all the other cameras. But funny enough, actually, one of those cameras has saved me from someone trying to claim that I hit and run him as a pedestrian too.
So I've hit a pedestrian on purpose one time. But
This
see,
is
okay,
going on the interwebs, you know. That's
and I
unsaid.
know
It can't be
no,
unsaid.
because there was a cop there to witness, and he laughed. So
He laughed.
so
Why?
it's okay. So
I didn't like that guy either. That's what the-
okay. So those stupid idiots on those
Oh,
bikes,
gosh.
like doing the little wheelies and stuff around town, right?
Yeah.
So let me set the scene for you. Okay, so I'm by like the foolery, but I'm heading east, and I'm parked right there just before the foolery right there. And these bike guys are like going by doing whatever, and this guy puts his hand at me, and I have a green light, so I idled out and knocked him off his bike, and he got mad, and I said, "Turn around, that cop's laughing at you." Because there was a cop posted. That's the only reason why I did it. Because I drove by the cop, and he's just like, "Dude, that's the funniest thing I've seen tonight."
Nice.
He's like, "Green light for you. He needs to get the fuck out the road." And that's exactly what he told me verbatim.
That's
So
hilarious.
he said that was the funniest thing he's seen all
Wow.
night.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
speaking of the police, the thing that I found to be really interesting after, being in Grand Rapids for all these years, it seems like last year there was a big change in the way that the police are responding downtown. They all drive their own cars. It used to be you'd have a couple police officers per vehicle, but now it's like, nope. When there's an issue
I see,
downtown, like
yeah.
all of a sudden 10 cars show up. They're very quick on site when anytime there's a fight
Well,
or something
there
happens.
was. Did you see the thing? I think it was Saturday, over by Pyramid Ski, and all that fight thing broke out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
that.
I was driving through there, and I see a bunch of hooligans, like all walking around outside their cars and everything, like lining the street and everything. And I'm just like, oh, this will be on the news.
Yeah.
And fast forward, literally the next day, I'm just scrolling through Facebook, and they're
Mhm.
like, and then like News 8 pops up, and they're like,
Yeah.
here's some dash cam, here's some
Yeah.
footage from the police. I'm
Yeah,
like,
they-
and I'm like, it was
pepper
there, and
balls
I'm like,
going down.
man, I should share my dash cam footage, but there was no fighting at that point.
Shoot. That's
Yeah.
what you want to get. is a
Yeah, I
good
didn't
fight.
catch any either. I was sitting over by O'Toole's when they all got the call, and so I wasn't getting any rides, so I just went offline and followed them over there and got nosy for a minute. I hopped on a Lime
Ah.
scooter and putted around there and talked to a
Ah.
couple of people. I guess they people there got pepper balled and there was pepper in the air and stuff.
Oh yeah, well, justifiably so. Like they're all
Yeah.
freaking, like you're fighting for no freaking reason, dude. Like leave that crap down at my place in the metro, okay? Like just
And you're
leave
hanging,
downtown.
you're hanging
leave
out in
down-
front of the bars at 3 a.m. drinking, fighting.
Well, there was a thing a couple years ago when they were all outside of the woods, and
Yeah.
and like they were just all like out there doing whatever and donuts, and they were all just like socializing, probably a couple hundred of them. And
think I remember that.
I called the cops, and I'm like, hey, is anybody coming to this? We don't have anybody. And I'm like, hold on, you're in a police station. Someone just go down there, flash some lights, and watch them scatter like cockroaches in the sunlight.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you just have to have a presence.
Isn't
And
that
they
exactly
literally
what they
didn't call
did?
them all. They didn't even do anything.
Oh, they didn't do anything that time?
No, I had to like I got stuck in the middle of it, and I had to turn around and go offline quick. I had to cancel the ride because I told the rider, I'm like, dude, I'm stuck in this hooligan central, and I'm like, so I went offline, canceled the ride, and like made a Yui and got out of there because I'm like,
There
I
you
don't know what nonsense is gonna go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Yeah,
plenty of empty
curiosity
parking
kills
lots.
fast, man.
Go
So,
find
yeah.
one.
Yeah, it's glad you called the police. That's a good call on your part.
Well,
Just,
I mean, that's the
get it
thing is
reported.
I'm gonna like, and the thing is, and too, is I've had situations where I've reported unsafe behavior on Uber, and I've
Yeah.
had a cop pull up behind me and be like, "Hey, you good?" Like, and
Yeah.
so I do like that feature. I think that's great that they do that and they contact, and then obviously they can track me from Uber and saying, "Hey, he's right here." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
This is his license plate. Hey, make sure he's good. So I, did appreciate that. Yeah. So
I've never had much luck with Uber being willing to make contact with the police in any way. When I did it in Bozeman, Montana, I did have one instance there. It was 4 really drunk guys, and at the time I was keeping my windows locked because all the college girls wanted to hang half their bodies out the window. And but as soon as
As
they
they
get in the as soon as they
As
get in
they
the car
should.
though, the guy behind me starts yelling at me, "Let me open the fucking window!" Just starts cussing me out. I'm like, "All right, you're right. Get the fuck out. Your ride's done." And
Sure.
they got out, slammed my car doors really hard. It was a nicer car, so I got out to check, and they like started shoving me into the car, telling me to get out of there. And I grabbed a stick I used to keep in the door of my car as a tire thumper for semis. It's like
Yeah.
that long, pretty thick, lead weight in the
Yeah.
end. And
Check the little Billy Club.
so they're coming at me. I popped one of them in the head real good, and then they yanked it out of my hand, and one guy pushed me against the car with his hand around my throat, and so I grabbed his, squeezed it, and that got him off of me, and I was able to get out of there. But Uber never gave the police his account information, any of his information. The cops called me in a month later to look at a photo lineup. And it's like, it was dark. I didn't remember this guy. I saw him for 2 minutes, max.
I mean,
yeah.
I've had
Wow.
some off nights where I'm like, I want someone to do something stupid. There was a thing like probably 6 months ago, and like this random fight broke out, and it was outside of Dublin. They probably should have hired me as a bouncer after that. But and so like I was like, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, people are like, get in the car, and this dude comes around, and I was like, oh, just hit my car in any way, like bumped my mirror. I literally put it in park. I said, well, wait a second, guys. Got out, literally dropped the dude that started it on the sidewalk outside of Dublin.
There you go.
You touched my car. You gave me reason to.
That's right.
And the rider that like was getting attacked gave me $20.
Nice. Nice.
Freaking Uber attacker for hire, apparently, because like he was like, I don't even know what this guy. He's like, I don't even know who this guy is. And I'm like, well, now he's the guy on the ground.
This is what we need to add. We need to add our dash cam stuff to this YouTube stream. I'm going to bring some boring ones from next time we get together. But if we have any good ones, we'll have to show them because maybe make some comments or Uber drivers react to bad driving.
Well, because mine saves it on the cloud, and then I have to be connected to it to download any like footage over, and it has like a 3-minute window. But that's
I have given my dash cam stuff to the police before from the Tesla, where we've had it was a kind of 2 a.m. kind of a thing, and the police officer was literally right next to me, and we're stopped at a light up up by Plainfield, up in that area on the East Belt on the belt line there by Meyer Garden. And this guy, I could just see him, because a lot of times I'll have my cameras on, because in the Tesla you can turn all the 360-degree cameras on inside the cab, and you can see someone coming up behind you. And this guy was coming way too fast, and I'm coming in hot. And coming in hot, and he just barely skirted around me right at the light, and it turned green soon as he went through it. So he timed it perfectly. So he didn't run a red light, but he was drunk as a skunk, and he just lost control. And of course, the police officer hit the lights right there.
Yeah, I had a situation when I was like, sometimes I'll just park in like more popular places, and I'll just kind of sit and wait for rides. Yeah. And I was right over by Social House, right across from Van Andel. I was kind of parked there, and like all of a sudden I hear this yelling, and I'm like, what in the heck? And then I see like these 3 guys like run past me, and of course they're right in my dash cam footage. Yeah. And so like the cops went after them, whatever else, and then like they finally came around, like the cops showed up, like ambulance showed up or whatever, and helping this guy and everything. And I walk over to the cops because I downloaded the footage really quick, and I was like, hey, did you find those guys? Because I got my dash cam footage if you guys need it or something. And so like I put it in one of the things and still, and he just took a picture of it, and he's like, yeah, we got him, but this is really helpful because now I know for sure it's them. So
that's good.
Doing my duty as a citizen.
Solid citizen.
Oh, so have you ever had one of your passengers get arrested?
Yes, recently.
Oh, nice.
In the car, or
So
just as they got out of the car?
so okay, I can't
You might
even
have
make this I can't even make this up. And this is so I picked up a guy like a month or two ago. I picked him up from he was over by like on the corner by Van Andel and Social House, of course, the same place. Um, and so like he gets in the car and he's like, I'm like, hey, for so and so, and he's like, yeah. So we get going, and I get to like the corner of Social House, like back, like past all those, and then I go to get on the expressway, and all of a sudden, like 5 cops roll up behind me, and I pulled over to the side. I thought they were gonna go on the highway or something, and they pull up. One was on the angle in front of my car, and then like 3 of them are to one side. One was like in, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Hey, is everything good, officer?" He's like, who do you have in your car?" I said, I have just one guy or whatever, right? And so all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, can you put the car in park? Turn it off." I'm like, "Yes, you're sure." I turn it off, whatever. And then they go over to his side, and they're like, "Hey, can you get out of the vehicle? Like, hey, what's your name? What's your so and so?" And they just handcuffed him, took him off, and I was like, "Hey, his phone's here. Don't forget that." And I was kind of playing with it at this point because I was just like, well, this hasn't happened before. I'm running out of first though. Like I've had so many first things happen, like I won't even let your mind wander. But like, and so like that was a first. Okay, like getting arrested, and then so I canceled the ride and I made $10. So it must have been surging. So like I drove like a quarter mile and made $10. It was
Nice.
a good day.
Nice.
It was a great
man.
day. Not for him, but for me.
I have one so similar to that, but it seems like
The
they
same
got
guy?
no, probably not. They got to you just a little bit later, I guess. So I got this request before I stopped taking long requests. Is going from the McDonald's on Madison and 28th to East Lansing. And I park there. I'm waiting for the guy to come out. And then he comes out. He's this skinny white guy. Looks like he's on drugs with a couple of skateboards. And so I get out and open the trunk so he doesn't hurt the car. And while I'm standing there like 3 feet from him, like 5 or 6 GRPD just swarm up and fly out of their cars and get their guns out and start yelling at him to get on the ground. I'm just like standing there like this. I'm just the Uber. I'm gonna go this way and get out of the way. But like, yeah, he was yelling at them to shoot him and all that. And
Jeez.
yeah.
Good
So
golly.
I just stood and waited behind their cars till they were done because I was pinned in there. I couldn't get out. But
And this is why my Uber motto is the worst night of your life is the best night of mine.
oh yeah,
Because your stories will live on. And
yeah,
I couldn't even tell you the guy's name. Like it just happened so quick.
nice.
And it just like, and I'm like, I don't even know what he did. That like he got an Uber and it seemed all cash. And
Yeah,
then all of a sudden, like, you just roll up on him and put him in handcuffs and roll him away. I'm like, have a good night.
yeah, yeah. The cops wouldn't tell me anything or ask anything either.
Dude, I literally said, have a good night, guys.
Nice.
Like I wanted to like get out and like give him a high five or something. Hey, well done, guys. You saved
Oh,
me.
that's funny.
You saved me
And I
from a
made
random
$10
guy.
at the same time.
And I made $10, 10.19 to be exact. I do remember that.
Nice. Don't remember your name, but remember your 1019.
Oh, exactly, dude. I mean, I think I've told Pierre this, but like, so Steven, my first puke ever, and I found that most of my pukes come from Mojo's, but so it was literally like midnight, and I pull up whatever, and like this is like I was doing a Lyft at the time. I think this was in like the beginning, but and this dude dressed like a girl, and this is before all the movement that we have now, okay? And
Yeah.
so like, and he like trips like 3 times from the sidewalk of Mojo's to like the Rosa Parks Circle curb,
Oh my gosh.
like throws him in the back of the seat like freaking a sack of potatoes. And so we get, and I don't even know where, I couldn't tell you the names. I know the guy's name was Tyler, dressed like a girl. Didn't know what his female name was, but And so I get to like about like on bridge, I get to like about just before that 96 overpass, just blobbing it in the back. And yeah, and that was my first puke, and that was a doozy. And like I think at the time I had a Chevy Cobalt, so like that happened, and like luckily it was all liquid, but like yeah, no, I nonetheless my night was over, and it's like 45 degrees outside, and my windows are all down the whole way home, which is
Nice.
about 15 minutes. So yeah.
Air it out.
Oh,
had
dude,
those.
it just smelled like really cheap vodka
Nice.
and a little bit of cranberry, but
Very
Nice.
Slow gin.
some dirty Shirleys.
I may have given him her ride before. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, maybe
same
that's what we
guy.
did. Next week, let's
I
have our
did-
best cross-dresser stories.
I went to
Cross-dresser corner.
I went to go. I had an airport pickup, and I'm pulling up, and it looks like just a large woman, a tall woman. As I'm pulling up, and I normally like if they got bags and stuff, I'll get out and get their bags for them, especially if it's a woman. But I'm like, you need help with your bags? And then he says, yes, please. It's like, and then he proceeds to tell me during the ride in the car, he's like, yeah, I just got my breast aug done and all that. I'm like, and I offered to help you like a gentleman. How?
That's
Gosh.
You're like, he walks up behind with your
a reasonable, nice person. Come on.
he
He is a bigger guy than me.
he hasn't had his Adam's apple removed yet, so he's like, can I help you with your bags, ma'am? No,
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
I got it.
I've got some good stories.
Oh, come on, Pierre,
I'll save them.
chime
I'll save them
in.
for the next
Oh, you
one.
say- okay.
Save them for
All
next
right,
time.
Well,
And next time I have some videos. I'll have some videos we can show. So I'll bookmark some fun Uber videos. Then we can talk about some of those.
you can narrate it.
Yeah, I think we can narrate together what happened.
Narrations with Pierre.
Yeah, the whole
Pierre's
Oh,
corner.
when did I want to know whenever I watch any of those videos, when did the Uber driver realize? Because a lot of times you don't know what's going on in the back because you're not looking back. You're paying attention to what's in front of you. You're driving professionally.
Well,
I
pulled up.
You realize this is not gonna turn out well. Something bad
when it all went downhill.
Yeah, this is when the Uber driver figured out something bad is happening.
Oh, geez.
I have had I think I shared this last time. I had the couple break up. That was happening last.
I had a couple of those.
Like a half an hour drive out to Hudsonville from like Rockford, and it was this entire time was just
giant blubberfest. I mean, I've had plenty of those breakup rides. I had one time in the very beginning of this is the very beginning. So these are always the weird moments in the beginning because you don't know what to do. So I'm sitting and this girl gets in the front and I'm like, whatever, I don't care. And so I got my hand on my shifter because I used to drive manual like way back when I was a kid. So it's just a nervous tick. And all of a sudden she just like, we get like maybe 5 minutes in the ride and she just starts blubbering. Oh, this guy, man, I thought he was this, and then he cheated on me. This like, it's like this woman has like the worst taste in men. Like she said, had like 4 different. She says this keeps happening to me, and then all of a sudden she like grabs my hand and like holds my hand as she blubbers her soul, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I mean, I've been divorced for a while, but like, I don't want this kind of female interaction with a blubbering rider in my car.
Yes.
But I let it ride, and she got out of the car, and she's like, "Thank you for listening," and I'm like,
"Yes, exactly.
You paid me, so this is like a therapy session."
Yeah,
it is. It's like therapy.
Please tip your therapist.
You're like a bartender
Dr. Uber.
at that point. Yeah. Yep. You're just like a bartender at that moment. You're a stranger.
Dr. Stephen Strange.
Yes. You're kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Like I said, that's part of the reason why I stopped doing delivery driving, because you're judgy. There's a part in you that says, why are what's the story? I want to know the backstory behind the two people that are in the back of my car yelling at each other about
Well, yeah. Well, and it's the
you
same. It's
seemed
the
just nice people moments ago, and now all of a sudden,
well, it's the
yeah.
same thing when it comes to like if someone's on the phone, I'm only hearing one side. So I
Yes,
feel like I'm not
exactly.
I'm not
Exactly. That's the other
invested.
one.
Yeah.
But as soon as you have it on speaker and I hear both sides, I feel like it is within my right to have a say in this argument.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I should start treating that way. Yeah, that's one
Exactly,
way to
because
get over
you're
the speakerphone
invested.
problem.
Because you're
Yes,
invested.
you're in.
Because now I feel like I'm a part of it. Like
Yes.
you have
Oh,
let
man.
me into your personal life,
Yes.
Yeah.
and it's your fault.
Yes.
If you would have just had it
broken
on the
HIPAA
ear,
compliance.
and I only heard one side, I'd have been like, yeah, whatever. She seems like a bitch.
It's
But
in
I don't know what the other
terms
guy's
of
saying.
service. It's
So,
Oh,
somewhere,
like,
isn't
I
it?
helped intervene with one too.
Oh, I've done that plenty of
Literally-
times.
Yeah, there was one good one I had. It was a hookup coming from downtown. Then she booked it back to his place, and during the ride, he happened to mention that he liked Trump, and that was the end of it. Like she was like, "Oh no, am I gonna have to get another Uber home?" I'm like, and I just had to intervene as the driver. I'm like, "All right, let me just ask you an objective question." I'm like, "Just tell me what exactly don't you like about him?" And so she's like brought up the whole, women's rights thing and all that. I'm like, you're not even right about any of that. I proceeded to educate her, about what he can even really do. And she started yelling at me. I'm like, all right, your ride's over, get out. I'm like, I canceled the ride. And then I told the dude, I'm like, I'll take you the rest of the way to your place if you want. It's up to you, or if you want to chase her down, whatever. But she
Don't
got out at
chase.
that point.
I don't chase. They get in my car. But, yeah, no, I've played Dr. Seth more times than I can count. But I've also,
Well, there you
I
go.
know,
That's what we'll have
but-
to do. We'll have a session. We'll have to do that as a section in the podcast to Dr. Seth. We'll have somebody do a
Dr.
true
Seth.
confession, and then we'll get your opinion on whether kick them out or keep them. It's like kick them or keep them.
or
That'll
keep
be
them.
the-
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
kick
We
them
could-
out or keep
This
them in the
podcast
car.
will end up being like 3 hours of
Yes.
of Dr.
Oh.
Stephen Strange's confessions
Yes.
and yeah,
There you go. There you go.
taxi cab confessions.
Taxi cab. That was a thing. That was
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah, but
That was a thing.
all right. Well, I will say we put a pin in this elongated
All right.
conversation of thanks for coming on, Stephen. You're more than welcome to come next week if you
Awesome.
feel so inclined. I know you said you'll leave it in a little bit, but you can,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you can record from wherever. So
It's been good. Thanks for having me. Oh, I wasn't sure what to think, but yeah.
There you go.
well,
It's
and
been
like I
fun.
said,
It's gotta be
like I
fun.
said, we rabbit trail. We have more trails than a root of a 100-year-old tree. So lots of segues. So yeah. So I
Nice.
hope you guys all have a good couple weeks. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. This is the Rideshare Podcast. Peace.